How's it going, guys? Oh, I feel just a little better than I did the other day. Um, Holy cow. I was really hoping 2026 was going to be the year. Um, it seems like it's been a shit show ever since, the beginning of COVID there. And nothing just seems to be getting better. In every single aspect. You know, all the bullshit that's going on with the current things in the world today. I'm not going to dive too much into it, but it's just, this shit that's going on at the pumps is ridiculous. With the way bills are and stuff, if diesel is what, $5.30 a gallon right now. I think gas is trickling right behind it. I'm glad I picked up that little car, but that's gonna throw a monkey wrench in all the plans I had this year. I really, really was looking forward. I've never been to one of Smitty's events. I really, really want to go to Smitty's event. Not even to race, just to meet people, hang out. I've never been to that state. That'd be kind of cool to go out. My buddy Tanton's putting on an event. I can't remember what day, but it's all the way out there. I think it's like a 17-hour drive. That's probably not going to happen. There's a race coming up in Illinois that I wanted to do. That's probably not going to happen. But I think, if I recall, I think Smitty said he's an 8-hour drive. Sawfest, come hell or high water, I'm still gonna at least try to make it to Sawfest. Probably won't be able to make it to the summer one. I'd rather do the October one. I think there's gonna be 2 Sawfests this year. But it's just, this shit sucks. I mean, people that have money and they're rich and stuff, they don't give a shit what it costs at the pump and stuff. But me and my wife's current situation, we robbed Peter to pay Paul. It's a juggling act, and with my health being rocky, I can't do all the stuff that I used to do. I could probably completely overwhelm myself and make a little bit more doing stuff like this, but I can't do it as efficiently as I would like to do it. So I'm not gonna go down that route. Plus, I don't want to kill my hobby. Like it's getting so bad when I pour just one saw, I hurt so bad I can't even hardly hold the grinding tool the next day. So I don't know. I see some hard times coming up. I'm not looking forward to that, but I'm not gonna try to let that get me down. I put that. I've had a heck of a last few days. We had an inspection coming up at work, so we had to hammer that hard. Been on that hard. The inspection went good, and then I had to clean up some equipment. So I was at work. Couldn't work this morning because I was on 2-year-old grandson duty, and man, that kid is a handful. I don't know how I did it. I had 4 girls, and I watched them more than we never did daycare. the wife always had a job with insurance, and then I always bounced around on flexible jobs, just so we didn't have to put the kids in daycare. But I had 4 girls at one time, all in diapers. And I don't know. Back then it didn't seem like it was that bad, but unless my kids were really that good and the grandson got an evil streak in him or something, but he whooped my butt. He tuckered me out today. He'd made a mess of himself in the tub, cleaned him up, then realized there was no clean towels, so I took him out of the tub, plopped him on the couch, and then had him sitting on the couch so I could go and get a towel out of the dryer. And lickety split like that, he got himself I don't know, it's this super concentrated little Kool-Aid squirt stuff that you can put in water bottles. You just put a squirt in it and it flavors the water. I don't even know where he got it from. I guess my daughter said she had it sitting. I don't know where she had it sitting, somewhere by his diaper bag or something. I never seen it. The dog could have grabbed it and put it on the couch too, and I didn't, and I just didn't see it. But by the time I went from the couch to the dryer and back in there, he had red shit everywhere. I was panicking at first because it looked like he had blood all over his hands, his belly, his face. It looked just like blood, and it was some sort of Kool-Aid shit. And checked him over to make sure. And once I found out what it was, I took him back in the bathtub, scrubbed him up. He did not like that at all, and that stuff don't wash off. So I got a reddish pink grandkid right now. That stuff's gonna have to wear off. But I gotta watch him. Well, it's late enough now. I'll have to watch him again today. So they'll probably get another round of baths with me, and I don't know. The shows that he wants to watch don't interest me at all. I wish we could find a happy medium, you know, like cool cartoons or something instead of stupid stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Kids are something else. But man, a kid loves peanut butter too. I've never seen a kid like peanut butter as much as that little dude. But yeah, I've switched up like supplements and herbs and stuff that I've been taking, and I come up with a concoction that appears to be helping, I guess. I've noticed over the last 3 days that I'm not pissing out as much foam, so I guess that's good, and the color's lightened up a little bit. I'm still having some severe pains back here, and I'm getting some flakes and stuff out, so I don't know. I think I shook something loose. I've come up with another concoction for that's supposed to help soften that stuff up. And, if you have researched it and read it on the internet, I have probably tried it. But yeah, don't have my hands full next couple days. I know that logger wants a 7310. I did a bench fire on it. I got to test and tune it. I'm hoping tomorrow night. We're supposed to have rain coming in too. I'm hoping I can test and tune that and get that ready. This is a brand new OEM 372 from Pavim. And this one says Sweden on it. I think the last one I did, I thought it said Brazil on it. But this is all Torx bits, but it's the real deal. It's, you know, it's the real deal. It's super nice. You know, other than it's got all Torx bits, which I don't really mind because my steel driver works for that. kind of bummed it's got the limited coil in it. I'll just tell the owner of it to, hey, pick up a black coil if you want more out of it. But he wants this by Thursday night. I'm hoping I can deliver. Got it tore down all the way up. I got the wheels centered on it. But thought I'd make this video. I have been asked a lot lately. I'm not exactly sure why. It might have to do with that build off that Joe had. I've had so much going on. I've got parts. I've got parts down there. I got parts over there. I got a parts one that I brought back from Sawfest. I have, well, I've been stealing parts. Under there, I had almost a complete 365. It's far from complete now, but I have parts there. I have parts up on the shed. You know, I've got piles of 372 parts. I plan on building 2 clones. I've even got some cool parts that I'm going to put in there that I'm probably not going to discuss or even show. It'll be all Sawfest legal, but I don't want to give away some of my ideas. But I've had numerous saws that I've took over that were 372s and had Joe pull them. I wasn't too worried about getting into that build off because I figured all I'd have to do is wait and see the results. I sold my highest horse one that I've ever built. I had one that was like 9.3, and I think it was like 5.3 foot-pounds of torque, if I recall. I can't remember what RPM it was. When I sold the saw, I gave the dyno sheet. But I've got a whole stack of other dyno sheets. I probably safe to say that as somebody that goes over and sees Joe, I have probably had more stuff dynoed by Joe probably than any other individual. I'm a data freak. I collect data. I'm always striving. I really try to grasp and manipulate these things to where I get the best I can get out of them for what I do to them. Not any shape or form have I said that I'm a great builder. There's tons and tons of people out there that can build a great saw. I will say I strive to do the very best port job that I can do with the tooling I have and the knowledge that I have at the time of the build. I've put a lot of research into this model. I've put uberous amounts into the 4910 50 Lawns. I've done a little bit. I'm still not done with the 7310s. I've done a little bit of research in them. I need to put as much research into them as I have these. I've got these things sorted out like a Swiss watch. At least for my style of porting. Results may vary. If I give you guys a set of numbers, that's the thing. Port shapes, textures, shape size, transfer shapes. There's so muffler mods. There's so much. How you read a wheel, point of sight. Where you're looking at. If I say I'm doing 100, and I'm looking at it from this way, and then so if I look at it that way, that's 100, and then I come down here, it might be 98. I just typically I will look up, down, and then in the middle, and then kind of fluctuate there and find my point of aim, and I use that point of aim every time for my reference. If you're using a Dyno Joe wheel, Um, I strongly recommend that your saw is fixed where the table can't wiggle or the saw wiggle. I've had very varying results. I did some testing with that because I can put it right on the end of this. My fixed wheel, there's only 2 ways this moves. 3. You bump it, you grab it and didn't have this tight and roll it around and skew it, or you bump your brass rod. And if you did do something or you caught it, you throw this back in and you swing it around like right there, 60, and then I can come back around this way and I'm hitting 60 there. I know I'm zeroed. And if you got any kind of questions, the higher up you go on here, the more accurate it's going to be. So that's 50. And right there's 50. So there's two points of aim that I just did there. I know that wheel's zeroed, so I am ready to lift this cylinder and commence to work. I'm not even gonna get a read on the factory numbers. I don't care because I already know what numbers I'm gonna stuff in this. I'm gonna probably cut between 40 and 50 out of the band. I'm going to set my exhaust where I see first rail light at 100. I'm going to leave the intake where it lands. It's going to get a mellow long. I'm going to open the lowers and unshroud them. And there's huge debates on that. And then I'm going to set the transfers at 120. And this saw will make anywhere between 8.3 all the way up to 8.7. Just depends. I suspect with an unlimited coil and you wing it hard, you'd probably be closer to the 8.7, depending on how hard I attack the uppers. But and why do I feel confident saying that? I built 4 of these right in a row for a gentleman, and we had them pulled, and they were all within 1/10 of each other. And I do all this work freehand, so I'm pretty confident that I can make him an 8+ horse work saw that I feel totally comfortable with the RPM it's pulling, the power it's pulling, the heat saturation that it does, where it can. I've got numerous of them out there where they are in logging world, firewood world, goof off world, and knock on wood, I've had 0 372 issues on OEM stuff. Now, clone's a different story. Clones always end up having a failure somewhere at some point. Oil pumps crap out. I had some coils crap out, carburetor issues. But on these OEM ones, I've hardly had any issues. I've had some get absolutely pulverized by a tree. That's not the saw's fault, but I've had several of these things pulled, and I can only tell you how I build them. Now my racer is going to be getting some extra stuff done to it that I'm not going to show or even talk about on the camera, but I'm totally fine talking about what I do with my conventional work build. And I mean, right here's a dyno pull. This one made 9.03 horsepower, and it made 5.22 foot-pounds of torque. That's a pretty saucy 372. I still have that saw. It has a different muffler on it. I calmed her down a little bit because I got tired of my ears bleeding, but I still have the muffler that I could put back on it if I want. This is one right here that I did that was 100, 120, and that's another thing I want to talk about too. Twin ring, or you can get a hold of Ryan at Wolf Creek Saw Shop and get yourself a Meteor 371 single ring. pretty sure these are single rings that I have. On work saw builds, you guys aren't going to believe me, but on the work saw builds with no piston work at all, you know, not even lightening them or nothing, I can get 8.3 horse without touching the piston. On the work saw builds, this piston or the OEM twin ringer, I've gotten the same horsepower. Now, in a racing situation, that might be a little different. There's if you're running aftermarket cylinders, there's different cylinders. This is a 365 cylinder 8 ring. I was gonna try to turn this into. I was gonna try to turn it into a race cylinder, but it's, I don't know. It's definitely not work saw quality. But if you're not, I don't care what people say. There's different ways of doing it. If you don't want to drop these, or I know people that don't touch them, you got to run a little bit different blowdown if you want to roll that way, and then the power becomes peaky. Your narrow band, they're targeting a certain RPM. I'd rather do this, open it up, and still be able to hit that same RPM, but hold torque for a broader band. I like a nice, big, broad power band. Like, can't hardly read this. All the way down to 4,000, I'm still at 5 foot-pounds of torque, 5.05. And it held over 5 foot-pounds of torque for just about 10,000 RPM. And it peaked at 7,500. But at 10,000 RPM, it's almost the same torque as it is at 4,000 RPM. To me, that's a nice saw. This one was a work saw. It made 5.02 foot-pounds of torque, 8.71 horsepower, and that peaked at 10.5. And it was still, even up around 12,000, it's still jamming good. That was a work saw. That's 100. That's a 40 band cut, 100, 120, where the intake line on along. Single. No, I had a dual outlet muffler on that one. Here's another one. Actually, it's got three different ones on it. It's got one with 5.10 foot-pounds of torque, 8.52 horse. It's got another one on there it says clone. That was 491, 8.64 foot-pounds of torque. That one, I was trying to stretch it out a little bit. It was this red one that was more of a racer. Wasn't really trying to go for horse. I was just trying to get some good chain speed out of that one. And then here's one with absolutely no machine work, no band cut, no machine work. I think all I did on that one was a base gasket delete, and then adjusted the numbers in a single 1-inch outlet on it, and it made 4.69 foot-pounds of torque and 7.48 horsepower. That's pretty good for not doing shit to it. And that will vary on clone cylinders. I think, if I recall, that was a highway cylinder. On clones, if you find an aftermarket cylinder that the tunnels look just like or very similar to an OEM cylinder, you can get really good power out of those cylinders. The ones that don't look like that will make less power. They'll have a broader torque band without work, but they'll have less peak power. Here's three more. This is one I did, made 5.21 foot-pounds of torque, and it made 8.95 horsepower. That was a pretty spicy one. Here's another one, 5.06. This was a clone. 5.06, 8.7. If I recall, I think that was that white one. That white carbon fiber one that I did. And then here's a different clone that made 5.10 and 8.52 horse. And that one, if I recall, I split the transfers. And I think I had, it was not a pipe muffler mod I had on. I think I had a deflector on that one. It's hard to remember. Here's another sometimes Joe puts like little things. I gotta remember what this stood for. Okay, this was one that I cut the base on but did not cut the chamber. Did base gasket delete, cut the base on, and then lowered the cylinder down onto it, but still never cut the chamber on it, and I still got 4.96 foot-pounds of torque and 8.15 horse. And if I recall, I think that was a Meteor cylinder with a... It was a piston Dubs sent me. I can't think of the brand of the piston. Dubs might remember. I think Dubs has sent me two piston. Now this has got 3 saws on it, but only one's a 372. This is another one where it's 100, 120, and I think if I recall it was 76 on the intake. It made 5.06 foot-pounds of torque, 8.7 horse. Just absolutely big old huge, just a phenomenal work saw. Here's another one with no machine work. And then it's got the HY. This has got a highway cylinder on it. I think I was doing some highway testing. If I recall, this one made 4.8 foot-pounds of torque, 7.7. I think that was the giveaway saw. I think I gave that one away. I think that's the one I hand cut, if I recall, with my did that one all by hand. It was a clone. I was surprised I got 7.7 out of it with not squat done to it. This is the same saw, but it was compared to one of my 8000s. They were pretty close to each other. Here's another one, work saw, 4.82 foot-pounds of torque, 8.18 horse. And that's another one from 5,000. It's 4.68 foot-pounds of torque. All the way to 10.5. It's still in that range right there. I mean, really broad banded. This was a 104 roof, 371 mild work saw that I did. and that did 4.61 foot-pounds of torque and 7.89 horse. Nice big curve. I got rid of that saw too. That was a build I'm not going to talk about. That's not my build. That was a build built by someone else that I had pulled, and I promised I wouldn't reveal the results on that one. It didn't go as planned for the gentleman. Here's another 372, 4.96 foot-pounds of torque, 8.56. And yeah. Let's compare it to another one of my saws. What we got here? I put, this has got a 440 compared to a 372 with no machine work, and then a no machine work, well, base cut only, 7310. So a 440, and if I remember right, yeah, because that's the version 2. That was a salvaged cylinder. I bought a cylinder off from eBay that was ported by someone else, and I tried to salvage it, and I think I did salvage it. I got 4.57 foot-pounds of torque out of it, and 7.43 on, well, it was a screwed up cylinder, and I salvaged it. I made it functionable anyway. And then I built a no machine work clone that did 4.69, 7.48. So those two are really, really comparable. And then I wanted to compare just a base only, no chamber cut on that 7310. And I got with just no chamber cut, I got 4.98 and 8.05 foot-pounds of, or 8.05 horse out of that 7310. And so if someone's wanting to copy that build on that 7310, that one, I set the squish, I can't remember how much I cut off it. I think I set the squish at 25, raised the exhaust up, because I didn't even use a wheel on it. I raised the exhaust up. There's a lip, inside. All I did was take the lip out, reshape the port a little bit, and then there's 3 transfer ports in there. The highest transfer port, which, if I recall, was the one by the muffler, the primary. I raised the other 2 up to that, and then muffler modded it. And if I recall, I think I lunged it and I didn't touch the floor of the intake. And what else did I do to that one? I think I had 2 outlets on it. No carb work, and with no chamber cut. I got almost 4.98 foot-pounds of torque and 8.05 horse out of it. I thought that was pretty good for a simple build that you didn't even need a wheel to do. But the 7310 edged out those other 2 builds on that one. It edged it out from torque all the way across the board. The 440 did stretch out the farthest though. That makes sense. Those 440s are pretty zippy. This is another 371 that I did. Just the basic 100, 120, where the intake lands. I got 4.99 foot-pounds of torque and 8.53 horse. So that's why I'm safe. I feel I'm safe to say that I can take this, port this for this gentleman, and get him between 8 to 8.7 horse, depending on how hard I want to tack the insides of it. Um, um, so that covers. I still have more of these sheets. I mean, that's a pretty thick layer. I've got a stack of Dyno sheets about like this somewhere around here, and I know there's more 372s in it. But I know my highest horse one I don't have because I let that sheet go with the saw, and Joe's computer crashed a while back, and he lost 90% of my runs. I was kind of bummed. If I'd known that was going to happen, I would have bought like a little external hard drive or something and took that over there and probably had him transfer just all my runs on that, so I had that data, because these don't. I've had to throw some of my sheets out where they've gotten fallen in bar oil and other stuff, and I clear my phone out too much to keep pictures saved in there. So, but yeah, I test things, guys. This is probably a long drug out video, but I test, and then I test some more. I like getting data. I did quite a bit of deep diving into the 346 too. Not quite as much as I have. I think my highest horse 346 was 6.3, and believe it or not, I didn't like that build. I liked my 6.1 horse one far better. I like a lower roof on a 346. I don't put them as low as some of the other ones, but you know, I have to run a low roof, a really wide exhaust port, and a low roof on a 346 to get a similar feel on the back of the handle to what I like on a 4910. I can run a much higher roof on a 4910 than I can a 346 and still be happy with the 4910. And I think that's to do because I believe that 4910 has a millimeter more stroke. They're just a torqueier saw. So I use that to my advantage. But I can give you guys numbers, but it doesn't mean, you guys can take one of these, put that same set of numbers in there and put it on the thing and maybe get a 7 horse build. Does that mean that I'm full of shit? No. Everybody ports different. Pop-ups can change things. Piston swaps can change things. My flame propagation that I study on the, how a chamber's burning and stuff. Flame direction, orientation, squish velocity, where you have the squish angled at. Everything plays a role, and with how I do things, I study, I get data, and then I'll find out with my porting style how something likes to be angled, how it likes to be chamfered, the textures that it likes, and it might be, how do I word this? I stack gains, if that makes sense. And not just like say if it's 7.1, I don't count, I'm going off that third one, what would that be? So if you're focusing on that third one, say if you're at 7.15, and you can manipulate your port a little bit, and you can get, or your texture, and you can get that to click over. Now you're at 7.2. So then you find the next gain that works good for you, and you just keep stacking the gains, and before you know it, I mean, if you stack 10 or 12 gains, you've gotten a whole extra horsepower that you couldn't have before with the same set of numbers. It's, I don't know, guys. It's funny how it works. I just, I try to do the best I can with the ability that I have to do when I'm doing it. And this is probably going to be a really screwed up video, but I'm going to do my darndest to try to get the machine work done on this tonight, so when I get done watching the little one tomorrow and get out of work, that I can come out here and hopefully bust this thing out and just go from there, you know. But I've been asked, you know, at least the last week and a half, what my 372 builds go. So I just listed off a whole bunch of them there. I hope things straighten around for our country so we can get back to where people can afford to travel. I really, really want to go to some events. I'm hoping my current situation is going to change for me so I can get feeling better. When you're suffering with liver issues and kidney issues, your energy level is completely kaput, guys. Like, I feel so dog dead tired. It's not even funny. Like, and it's hard to be motivated when you feel so horrible. But I'm going to bust this one out, and then right after this one, I'm doing a 371, which is in the house. It's still boxed up. I can't wait to open that up because the pictures that guy sent me, that thing should be a really nice specimen. And then after this, I'm going to build me one of my racers. I've got, I think it's a 4910 or a 501 in that box there to do. I'm not doing it until I get one of my saws done. I'm tired of putting my stuff off. That got to me late anyway. I got two 395s to do now. One's mine, and the other one is another gentleman's. And I talk to that guy almost on a daily basis. Super awesome dude. It's funny how much we see eye to eye on a lot of stuff. But he's in no rush for it. He's in no rush to get a 620 either. He's dealing with a mountain of snow anyway. But yeah. So I want to do one of mine. I have another 372 down there that I got to do for Scott at Blue Saws. I've got all the parts sitting in that box over there. But I'm going to do this one, the 371, mine, and then I'm going to jump on, get that one done, and then I'll probably bust that 395 out, maybe mine, I don't know, it depends on how I'm feeling. And then I got the other clone to build, and when I go to build that one, I'm going to build Scott's at the same time. I like to at least do these in 2s or 3s, that way I don't have to sit there and re-zero in all my tooling and all that. It just cuts down on fiddly farting around. But yeah, so there's some of my 372 results. Like I said, guys, I typically share a lot of stuff. I think 100, 120, where the intake lands and a lung is absolutely ideal for all around hard hitting. I mean, go over and check out Chips and Chains. I built him a Johnson Red version. He's got a couple of videos of that thing. Go check out. I don't know if Chad Jackson's doing YouTube anymore, but I know he does TikTok. Go check out. I think Chad's 372. I built him. I think it lives with a 36-inch bar on it, 32, 36, something like that. He says it's his favorite saw. And I'm stuffing the same build as I did in this. Stuffing the same build that I did in Warren's 2171 as I am in this. Why? Because I like how it runs, I like how it works, and I like the response when people play with it. And until I come up with a better formula, that's what I'm sticking with. Works for me. Might not work for you, but it works for me. I'm really not a high roof guy on one of these. I can get 15,000 RPM on a 100 roof, so you know what I mean? So I hope and pray that I can make it to Smitty's event. I'd like to make it to Tanton's, but it's not looking too good in the cards at the moment. And for sure want to make it to Sawfest. There were some other ones I wanted to go to, but I also can't lose my house to go goof off with chainsaws, if that makes any sense, guys. So I lose my house, I won't have nowhere to make you guys content or get my saw fix going on. The 462 is going to get boxed up and sent out to Haychaft and Sawdust. I want him to test run that to see what he thinks. I want him to pull it on his dyno, and I want some heat saturation runs. He's got a nice setup where he can track the heat curve on that, and it'll give me a good idea how long I can run it before she nuclear melts down. But I can honestly say that's the stoutest 462 I've ever had in my hands. The one I built previous to it is probably very similar in stoutness. I think that one reaches out a little bit more in the RPM department, but I think this one's got, and I think it has probably to do with the difference in intake duration. I think I'm lost a little bit of case pump on that hurt me on just a little bit on the top end, but it really helped it in the torque department. That saw pulls like a locomotive. It's the hardest pulling 462 I've ever had in my hands. I literally, with a 28 full comp and oak, I literally feel like I could break the gas tank before the saw gives up. That's an incredible feeling out of a stratified 462. They're not known for torque. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think of this type of video if you want to see more of it. I will probably show the port work on this. I probably won't show porting or anything like that. But as I get farther along, I don't know. Maybe I'll make another Dyno Joe cutter video when I cut the chamber on this. But I think I'm going to get this. I might not even get the chamber cut tonight. I might get this finished, tore down, and the chamber cutter all set up and ready to cut the chamber. So when I get out tomorrow, I can cut on it. I got to change the mandrel out on my lathe and get that all dialed in. I like to do that when I'm a little bit fresh so I don't make a mistake. But yep, I'm going to have the little I got, this is some different stuff here too. This is a big bore that I bought off eBay probably 3 or 4 years ago, and I don't know the brand of it, but I might build a 5 cube racer. I can't run that in Clone Wars, but I can run it in the 5 cube. I might, out of that Neotech, I might use this. So I got some more ideas and testing to do. Because so far, all those dyno results that I shared with you are the 50 millimeter bores, all stock style components, nothing exotic. Like here's a single ring piston. I've done some stuff too. I was going to use I started working on this cylinder for something. I need to get back around onto that. I was going to do bad things to this one. This one's damaged here. I could probably make a racer out of it, but it come off a damaged saw anyway. It's got a real healthy groove from the top of the exhaust port all the way to the top of the chamber. So shoot, this is a big bore too then. This must have been that Farmer Tech big bore. Yeah. Oh, I stole the rings out of that for a different project. So I guess if I screw that cylinder up, I have a backup big bore if things don't go as planned. But yeah, so I've blabbered on here for 50 minutes, and hopefully you guys learned something from it. Like I said, if you guys are like getting into porting, don't get discouraged if you're having bad results. Just keep plugging away at it. It takes practice. You know, I mean, a blind squirrel can find a nut every now and then, but for the most part, it takes practice, time, and you figure out what works for your style of porting, and you go from there. You know, I'm not saying my way's right, my way's wrong. I just know I cut skirts out, I open lowers, and it works for me. I know other people that build really good saws that don't even touch the lowers, and you know, I've went down that route, and I find I have to manipulate my blowdowns and stuff quite a bit different to extract the same amount of power. And then when I get the same amount of power, it's super narrow, and I don't like a narrow power band saw. That's just me. I like a nice big broad banded power that I can hang on the back of the handle and power my way through if need be. I hate a saw that bogs out in the cut. That absolutely hate it. But to each their own. You guys take it easy and have a good one.